Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm nervous as always.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. My name is Jamie. Welcome to Creeps and Coffee. We have a new guest today.
Yes, you do. It's awesome. It's so swag to be here. It's so dope.
You got the cats.
You got the cats. Big boy over there is showing us his tummy.
Yep.
Pretty nice.
Mm. Who do we have today?
We
Who's
have.
here?
My name is Nikki. I live in the same province as Jamie in Nova Scotia. Big living it up.
Hey, boy.
Hey, boy. Yeah. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yes.
I am a local actor in Halifax as well. I do some different event productions in Halifax, a lot of lesbian events, focusing on drag, burlesque, DJ sets, all that stuff. I also have a Twitch, twitch.tv/Nikki MV. I think it might be _MV. Let me double check. I'm
We'll
also, you can tag me. I'm also looking at starting a YouTube channel. Yes, it's Nikki _MV. And I'm also looking at starting a YouTube channel, hopefully in January, February-ish. And that will be found under the same username. So Nikki _MV on both. And Nikki MV, that's Nikki, Nikki, the letter M, and then V with 2 E's on Instagram, which is my main social media. Yeah, you can find me at all of those places.
She's way cooler than I am.
I think we're equally cool, honestly.
Thank you.
I'm the most humble person.
I'm just excited you're here.
I know, it's awesome to be here.
I feel
it's
like
swag.
This episode, it feels like I'm consulting a professional.
You're not.
I'm like, you know everything about video games.
I got my notes out.
You know more than me about video games and spooky video games. So I'm very excited for this episode.
Yeah, I've been playing video games since I was like 3-ish.
Whoa.
You know, I'm 23 now. 20 years I've been in this industry. And it's fun to talk about because there's a lot of ways something can be scary in video games. Like, there's some video games that have used like actual real life imagery and real life things. There's some video games that have predicted things that have happened.
Like The Simpsons.
Kind of like this, genuinely, yeah, kind of like that, except it's way more specific. So
Really?
It's kind of way more fucked up.
Okay.
And there's video games that are just scary to play, you know?
I'm Kate.
And I'm Jane, and this is Creeps and Coffee.
A show where we talk about the dark parts of the world around us.
Cryptids, conspiracies, things that go bump in the night.
And the crimes behind the scariest creatures of all, humans.
Join us as we take a look at the stories sure to give you the creeps.
Pull up a seat, grab a coffee,
and let's have a chat.
I think horror games they've kind of gotten a bad rap. But when it comes to like the classics like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Amnesia, I've heard is pretty good. Dead by Daylight, I'm a fan. I like Dead by Daylight quite a bit. I haven't played as much as I really want to.
I played the tutorial and I got too scared.
Well, the thing with those is that you have to know it's another person.
Yeah.
And then it becomes way less scary when you realize
That's true.
this guy's just trying to prestige or whatever. Like
I haven't done any of the classics. I've watched a lot of playthroughs of like Until Dawn, The Quarry. I know the basic Luigi Mansion, that sort of thing. Just
terrifying game.
literally today, you showed me Silent Hill. It was really scary, even though it's such an old game. I was freaking out.
I think it's scary because it's an old game.
Like, the graphics make it look so, like...
Yeah, there's a lot of games from back then when horror... Like, right after they first made, like, Alone in the Dark, which was, like, one of the first big horror games that were, like, 3D and, like, made horror games like we kind of know them today. We saw a lot of really creative stuff because it still kind of had that, like, uncanny valley of 3D. Last year and the year before especially, we've had really good horror games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to upgrade my computer so I can play them all and get nightmares.
So you can play the new Resident Evil that comes out next year.
I want to play all of them. I've only ever seen the movies, and every time I say that, people are like, not the same.
Yeah,
not
it's hilarious to hear you say that.
But I liked the movies, so I'm sure I'll love the games.
Have you seen the Silent Hill movie?
No.
Yeah, that's one you don't need to watch, from what I've heard. I've not seen it myself,
right.
but I've heard many things about how cheaply the rights for that movie were sold.
Oh, no.
And they're actually making a new Silent Hill movie based on Silent Hill 2.
Really?
Yes, and I didn't watch the trailer for it because I think nothing is going to ever top me playing that game on the PS2 for the first time, so I'm not going to expect it to. So, I guess I know I'm the expert, but if you want to throw us into a topic, and then I figure we just kind of bounce back and forth between different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, today it's kind of just a loose outline. It's like scary things in video games. I found a couple that I thought were interesting, and I'm glad you had a list of ones you wanted to talk about too, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first one that I wanted to mention, I don't know if you have it. Do you have Polybius?
I don't have it, but I do know quite a bit about that story.
So if you know more than me, feel free to interject at any point. It was the first one I've came across.
Yeah, that's actually really one of the not basic, like surface level, but basic as in like most well known.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it's so interesting. And I know my mom who listens won't know it.
Yeah. So Polybius is, off the top of my head, rumored, and I will say rumored, as in a lot of people don't know whether or not it really has existed or not. If I had to guess, I'm throwing a bone in the maybe to know category, but some people might think differently. Is an arcade game that was rumored to have been a part of broad spectrum MK Ultra style tests with the US government. And if I had to guess, that's probably based around things like addiction, things like, what's the term? Lucid states. No one really knows what the game played like. Some people have said it's pretty similar to Tempest. I think if it did exist, it definitely was just like a Tempest clone, I figured. And I figure if it did exist as well, they're probably studying similar phenomenon to that of like the Tetris effect, which is like how Tetris is good in like PTSD recovery, memory retention, just different mind things. But, you know, MK Ultra and that sort of like Cold War conspiracy era, I think was just largely based around the US government threw a lot of stuff at the wall to see what would stick.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I don't think Atari needs to be involved for that to be really messed up in and of itself, whether or not video games are involved. You know?
You pretty much bang on with that, to be honest.
Cool. Well, do you have anything else on videos?
I know they called it the Arcade Enigma, and apparently this sort of started in the 80s, 1981, and supposedly its geometric patterns and the vibrant shapes and colors hypnotized players. That led to rumors that it would cause seizures, memory loss, blackouts, hallucinations. Apparently 2 teenagers vanished playing the game, which is where it leads more into urban legend sort of talk, but there was speculation that it was involved with the MK Ultra mind control program. And you were correct about its addictive gameplay. People think there was like subliminal messaging in it as well. And people think that it led to government agents extracting data from arcade machines and using it for something sinister. However, there's no concrete evidence of any of this. But they do say that the first public record of Polybius appeared in 2000 on coinop.org, where it was just one image of the start screen that sort of like started the rumors, where people were like, oh yeah, this game. And apparently the copyright date attributed to, I don't know how to pronounce this because it's in German.
I can actually try to read it.
Do you want to try it? What is that?
It's Sinneslotion, I believe.
Perfect.
Sinneslution.
And supposedly that means mind erasing in German.
Damn.
And then the lack of official records lead to the belief that the FBI is denying its existence, but it actually did exist. And that the government agents use arcade cabinets for surveillance to, watch people from the 80s onwards. And
yeah, a lot of people going to the arcades.
Yeah, there's
today.
no proof of any of this, but there's lots of rumors about it.
Yeah, well, if you ask me, I think one that the amount of data that can be gathered from things like that. I think that video games were definitely a very new phenomenon, obviously, in the 80s. I don't think that's just the truth.
Yeah.
And I think we see with any new phenomena, we see the most extreme cases first. I imagine when new things are introduced to society, like a video game or even television or whatever, there's immediately things like the TV's making you go blind and crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The radio is hypnotizing you with radio waves. Look at how people talked about 5G cell towers.
We've talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, look at all of that in combination. The fear-mongering starts immediately with the most extreme examples. But also I think that humanity is susceptible to having things sort of instantly, when something's so foreign that you can't even study it. And that's what was publicized. So because of that, I just kind of interpret this as, yeah, it's very likely someone played a video game and had a seizure, because that's a warning on the box of most video games now, is that they cause seizures. It's very likely that someone played a video game for a long time until they got sick, because humans, we have people who go to casinos and are there for 2 days straight,
Oh, yeah.
The wrong kind of person with the inability to, inhibit themselves will just burn out on, adrenaline and things like that. And so I don't think Polybius has to be real for all of that to be, true,
Yeah.
I think that we can talk about, we can just we could apply a lot of the stuff that's said about Polybius, a thing that may or may not be true, to things that we definitely know happened, like Call of Duty's collaborations with the U.S. military, for example.
Woof.
Because you think that they can model, or weapons manufacturers, you think that they can legally put in a gun without getting permission from the people that make the gun? No.
Ooh.
I've
never thought about that.
Yeah, right? A lot of people don't think about stuff like that, but that's how, if you're having a Smith & Wesson, you gotta ask Smith & Wesson. And you gotta ask them how they might want that depicted. That's Polybius.
Yeah.
That game that's just little shapes running around? That may or may not exist. It did appear in a Simpsons episode.
Really?
Yeah, there's Bart went to an arcade and there's a Polybius cabinet. There's a ton of funny little stuff like that you see.
Okay.
And there is a version, I don't know why I said that, and there's actually there's been fan-made recreations of what people said the gameplay is like. There's actually someone who I think made a VR version based on the descriptions. So a fan-made sort of VR game. And I heard that was pretty dope, actually.
It feels very Black Mirror-y, or Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me actually look up. Yeah, Polybius 2017 PS4 game.
Okay.
Kind of inspired both by Tempest and what's the game I'm thinking of? Sinistar,
Okay.
an arcade game. An arcade game famous for having the first jump scare in a video game, which is actually good. I should have written that down, but now we can talk about it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I'm going to Google it right now.
Go ahead. But Sinistar is just kind of an arcade shooter that had a big scary spaceship come out at you and go, "I am Sinistar."
This guy?
Yeah, he's a big skull sort of
that would
demon
scare
guy.
me. That would work.
And then he'd charge at you and go, "Rah!" But they use a voice synthesizer, so it sounded like a real guy saying it.
Oh.
But all bit crushed and digitized. And because of that, He's terrifying. I actually thought when I was a kid, I saw a video of it, and I'm like, wow, that's really scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in arcades, and I'm sure that the kid that beat Sinistar probably got all the street cred from his friends.
Goodness, yeah. I know one that was on my list is technically also on your list, and you know way more about it. Is the Legend of Zelda?
Yes.
Majora's Mask?
Yes. Yes, we were playing.
You showed me, and it was spooky. The masks are spooky.
To record. Okay,
Burger, get your butt.
Yes, that actually kind of ties back a little bit into the real life stuff. Because the reason I wrote down Majora's Mask was due to a cryptid that inspired a monster design in that game, and that'll kind of bring us into, that'll round it out with some real life stuff.
I love cryptids.
But yeah, I can talk a bit about Majora's Mask. That game's development cycle was basically based around, they only had a year to develop the game, and they had to come up with a sort of cyclic thing to make sure that their scope wasn't too big and to make sure the game lasted long enough. So the developers decided to implement a time limit, and the way they had the game loop through time is that Link, who's the main guy, essentially ends up in this world called Termina, which is like, you know, that sounds pretty spooky already.
Yep.
And the moon is going to crash into this whole world and kill everybody in 3 days.
And the moon is so scary.
The moon has, a big, scary, angry face on it. It's like, it's such a weird emotion because it looks like pain and anger and like anguish all in one. It's such a specific thing, and they actually remade the game, and the face of the moon was like a big thing that people were like iffy about, because a lot of people didn't like it, because a lot of people were like, you kind of ruined the emotion of it. But I think that the emotion of the moon very much depended on like it looking low poly and like sort of like primitive.
Yeah.
But in that game, Link encounters different deceased or dying or soon to die characters, and through playing this song called the Song of Healing, helps them move into the afterlife, gains their power, and then uses their powers to defeat the bosses of each region, who all summon, once defeated, allow you to summon a giant, and getting all 4 giants has them all hold up the moon so that it doesn't crash into the world.
Right.
Without having too much time to get into it, I currently am writing a YouTube video about it that I'd like to put on my channel when that happens, about how the sort of like necromancy angle and the like leading spirits into the dead to me mirrors a lot of themes of alchemy and occultism, specifically hermetic magic, some of which involves communication with spirits and things like that. And I kind of interpret it as, some people interpret the game as like Link being dead and going through the 5 stages of grief. I think instead he's like training to become an alchemist and sort of like training to become a magician in ways that lead him to immortality.
Whoa.
Because there's actually a later Zelda game where the same Link appears, and usually it's a different Link every time, unless the game's like a direct sequel.
Okay.
Because it's a different incarnation of Link. But in Twilight Princess, the ghost of this Link appears in that game. Okay. And it's the only time that happens. And so to me, I kind of interpret that as having some sort of deeper meaning. And I'd really like to go into it in a YouTube video. But for this podcast, I kind of wanted to talk about the Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah.
Because I showed you earlier.
It does look like them.
Yeah, there's a monster that in Majora's Mask is this group of aliens that are set to take over this ranch, Romani Ranch. It is a little farm with like a little girl and her sister who are taking care of a bunch of cows on the farm. And these aliens, which again are modeled after the Flatwoods Monster, sort of inspired by that whole cryptid and that whole mythos, are looking to abduct the cows for some reason. We don't know why exactly. But essentially, if you show up and clear the big rock that blocks the path to the ranch, you help her defend the ranch from all these big alien guys.
Yeah.
If you fail, though, or if you don't show up, or if you don't blow up the rock that blocks the path to the ranch, the only time you can go is on day 3, of which you show up and she kind of seems out of it. Like, this little girl is just kind of dizzy. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't really know where she is. And all of the cows are gone. And it's sort of implied that she was a victim of an alien abduction. And that some unknown stuff happened to her while she was gone. And it's very interesting to put that into a game, especially compared to the previous game, where, like, Ocarina of Time is the previous game in the series, and that one's, like, a bit lighter. You know, it's still got some pretty dramatic and spooky elements, like the Shadow Temple and Under the Well, which are, like, areas in the game that are pretty scary. But Majora's Mask is basically like if the whole game was like those 2 scary areas.
Okay.
More or less. But yeah, that's the Flatwoods Monster. Sort of appears in that game and has kind of become one of the more iconic side quests in that game because of it. And I actually have another tie-in to the Flatwoods Monster, which is the next game I had on my list was Fallout 76, which is like a sort of online Fallout game that takes place 25 years after one of the bombs drop in Fallout, which is one of the earliest, I think, games in the Fallout series in terms of when you actually leave the vault. But that game's based in West Virginia. And West Virginia is a very, like, mountainous sort of region, and there's a lot of cryptid lore that centers around West Virginia. And the developers sort of recognize that, and there's many cryptids you can find in the game.
Why have I never played this?
You should play it. I have it. I'd play it with you.
I will play it with you sometime.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
It kind of got a lot of flack for not being that great at launch, but they sort of have updated it over the years. I'm someone who I actually pre-ordered it, and listeners who know about Fallout 76 are immediately like, oh no, you poor girl. But I played it up until they first added major NPCs into the game, and the cryptid stuff I think was always sort of there. The 2 big ones in that game are Mothman. Mothman
My
is
beloved.
You can fight Mothman.
Can you romance him?
I don't know. I haven't tried. There's actually a Mothman museum that you can go to in the game, and I have very distinct memories of walking through the forest and seeing 2 just big red eyes looking at me.
My brethren.
Yeah, and kind of just sitting there for a minute, like fear shooting up through my back, being like, oh my god. Yeah, because I knew he was in the game. I didn't know they just plop him there.
Yeah.
Like, kind of unceremoniously, like, there's Mothman.
You know how in Fortnite now you can have pets?
Yeah, you can have a Mothman.
You can have a Mothman pet. And I was like, I'm not about to drop $11 on this, but it's really cool.
Yes, there is many cryptids you can find in
Amazing.
Fallout New Vegas. I know you can find, I want to say you can find the Chupacabra, but I might be mistaken. Have to double check real quick. I am mistaken. You can find similar creatures to the Chupacabra, but you can't find him because that's also not really where he is geographically in America. They do have the Flatwoods Monster as well.
Awesome.
They have the Sheep Squatch, which is like a sheep Sasquatch.
Oh, I've heard of him, yep.
And one that actually does get us to another Fallout game is they have aliens.
Okay.
So you can find aliens in that game. And there's similar enemies, I want to say in Fallout 3.
Okay.
Where you can find alien spaceships and get alien weapons. You find like a crashed spaceship and there's like aliens kind of walking around and you can take one of their alien weapons.
Okay.
Aliens have kind of been a thing in each of the Fallout games because the game's sort of like, there's like an aspect of like B-movie style, not like the Jerry Seinfeld movie, but the 50s B movies, because the game is kind of like set in like neo-future 1950s. And because of that, there's a lot of like B-movie aspects to everything. And they decided to throw in some aliens because of that into each of the games. It's pretty fun.
If any of you games want to sponsor me, you know where I'm at.
Bethesda, hit us up.
Anybody, please.
Anybody, please. That would be awesome.
Anybody?
Get that Bethesda money. Give me back the money for my Fallout 76 pre-order. I'd take that, sure. Absolutely. What is your next little thing you have?
I mean, I have one it's just kind of a quick anecdote. It's not related to anything that we were just talking about at all.
That's okay.
But it was one, I wonder if you've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Japanese game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of old. Apparently it's called Nanashi no Game.
That's actually awesome that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I really want to play that. That's a DS game, right?
Also known as the Nameless Game.
Yeah, that is
Yep.
That is one of the like holy grail purchases for DSs. Same with
Yeah.
there's a lot of good DS horror games actually.
Okay.
Theresia is really good. 999 is good. That's on Steam actually, and you could play it.
Okay.
I wish I played the DS version first because there's a really cool twist that relates to having two screens to look at.
Oh.
But it's still a good story even
Yeah.
on the DS. It's an escape room style game, if you can believe it.
I know those.
I know those too. Anyhow, yes, there is no game. Tell us about the game that doesn't exist.
So it's a horror game that switches between a cursed game and a first-person exploration of the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And the story involves a cursed game which kills anyone that doesn't complete it within 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's...
I don't know if I want to... Okay, I actually should have said up top that there's going to be some spoilers for some games.
There's going to be spoilers for this whole season, this whole episode.
Thankfully, we haven't spoiled any of the games yet, but the games
True.
I have spoilers for are Return of the Obra Dinn, Pikmin. If you played the Pikmin games, those aren't super story
Is that
heavy.
the one that's like...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those aren't super story heavy, but I do have some spoilers for Pikmin 4 specifically. And Pikmin 3. Spoilers for Silent Hill, like those are sort of minor. And a lot of spoilers for Metal Gear Solid. Pretty much, I would say Metal Gear Solid 2 specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just say Metal Gear Solid 2.
Sure.
And now there's going to be spoilers for Nanashi no Game because I know the plot of this game a bit.
Spoil it for me. Tell me.
Yes, so Nanashi no Game's whole thing is that it is like a cursed game that like quote unquote killed the developers making it. And it is for a fictional handheld that is like similarly named to the DS. And it's like a 2-screen handheld. And the developers of the game in the lore of the game are like named similarly or the same to the developers of the real life game. And so the implication is that you, the person in the real world, are playing the cursed game, which is the cartridge you put into your DS.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a very fun, like sort of meta, like
Yeah.
you gotta beat this game or else it's gonna kill you.
It'll kill you in 7 days.
Kill you in 7 days, yeah.
Just like the ring.
Funny that it costs so much money on eBay,
Oh.
considering it kills you if you play it. But
You ever see the ring?
you ever see the ring? It's actually pretty similar to the ring because before the ring came out, they distributed the tape. Like, you know the tape in the ring?
Yeah.
They just laid them out around like different places.
Oh,
and
that's
stuff
crazy.
Like that. There's like a story from someone who took their girlfriend to see it, and she was like, "That's the tape I watched."
Oh my god.
So it's pretty similar to that sort of like meta style of scaring people.
That's cool.
I know, it's pretty cool.
I love like an is it augmented reality kind of?
ARG sort of.
Yeah, I love those.
Speaking of ARG, there's actually a game next in your list that is similar in concept to having some real life stuff happen to you, and that's Eternal Darkness.
Yeah, I had this on my list, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, but I think you know more about it than I do.
Yeah.
GameCube game?
Yes, it's like one of the first M-rated Nintendo games.
Okay.
And basically, no one who knows this game knows like the plot, really. Although I would really like to play it myself, I haven't been able to. I really want to get an original copy of it because this game has a sanity meter, which is kind of similar to the one like in Amnesia. But what the game does with the sanity meter is it essentially has different effects happen to the character and to the gameplay. So those include, like, if your sanity meter is low enough, the game will start pretending to turn down the volume on your TV. Or if you go to save, it'll pretend to delete your save file. There's moments where, like, it cuts the camera to like things in the game that aren't there, or it there's a specific one that I'm thinking of where the character's head just falls off while you're walking. And it's designed to like mess with you and your sanity.
It would work on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know the name of it, but there's that one game that people play. It's like a scary game where like you're typing or something and in the game's like interface, whatever, it goes into your computer to look up like your name or your birthday or something, and then it then inputs like, oh well, Jared, don't do that, and then players are like, how does it know my name?
How does it know my name?
And that scares me.
There's a lot of games that do that now.
That scares me.
Or there's games you have to like go into like mess with certain files in the game, which is all really cool. I always like stuff like
shout out Doki Doki Literature Club.
That's a good one.
Yep. Yeah, that was my first one. And my friend she sent me the link to it and said, download this.
And she didn't tell you about it? That's the best way to play
it. And I went into it being like, I'm not really into this, like, romancing a literature club of girls from Japan. But okay, I'll play it.
And she's like, keep playing it.
Yeah, and that's what I texted her after, like, an hour. I was like, this is like, not really my vibe. I like Fortnite. She's like, no, keep playing. And then after like 2 hours, I was like, oh my god.
It's a slow burner, too.
Yeah.
It's a real slow burner.
So, like, go play that. I think it's free.
You had the best context because there's a big content warning on the Steam page that says, don't play this. It's not a real visual novel.
Good stuff, yeah.
It is very good. I like it a lot. I want to talk about Pikmin.
Okay.
And I want to talk about Pikmin lore. This is actually something I was just talking about with my girlfriend earlier today. Because she just beat Pikmin 4. Spoilers for Pikmin 4, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Pikmin has sort of had a very subtle underlying lore. If you don't know, Pikmin is a Nintendo franchise where this little guy named Captain Olimar is flying through space one day, and he crashes his spaceship on an unknown planet, and on that planet are these little creatures he finds called Pikmin, and I believe Olimar is like an inch tall. Pikmin are about the size of a dime.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're very little. They're like tiny little like sugar ant size.
Cute.
That species is facing near extinction until Olimar shows up. And Olimar, because his ship crashed, he's on life support, and he has 30 days to have the Pikmin collect all of his ship parts and bring them back together and repair his ship. Okay. And then each subsequent game is sort of based on different things happening either to different planets with similar like guys to Olimar, just little guys.
Yeah.
Or it's based on things happening to the Pikmin. Pikmin 2 actually reveals very overtly that the planet that he crashes on is Earth. And before Pikmin 4, it was implied to be like super post-apocalyptic future where
spoilers, like Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, like Planet of the Apes. Where humanity, like all that was left behind for the remnants of humanity was our material things. Like you can pick up like Duracell batteries and like Coca-Cola bottle caps and things like that. It's very, it's both like damn, that's unsettling, but it's also very silly because it's like, that's a tennis ball. Like,
look at that.
yeah. But many of the species in Pikmin evolve, such as like birds evolve to be like snakes. Like there's this thing called like the snagrit, which is like a snake with a bird head.
Ew.
There is one that I really like that's just like it's got like a big lobster claw. I forget the name of it. It's a boss in Pikmin 2. Pikmin 2 also has you go to explore caves and you start to see like tiled shower floors and things like that. Like it's very, very well done. Pikmin 4 kind of sets things in, like, there's one big level in Pikmin 4 that kind of sets things in what looks to be like just a modern day regular house. And I think overall Nintendo's been pivoting from the post-apocalyptic stuff into having the Pikmin integrated into like our world as it is right now. But the big thing I want to talk about relates to parasites, because there's a lot of interesting lore revelations with Pikmin 4 that sort of come over the course of the story. So in that game, it takes place in what's implied to be... This isn't true necessarily. Nintendo's kind of confirmed that each Pikmin game takes place after the other. But based on what we know about the rest of the franchise, I like to think it takes place in an alternate timeline of the first game. Because obviously Olimar, the main captain, had 30 days to leave the planet, or else he was going to run out of his life support. And what happens in that game is that there's two endings. There's three, actually. But two of them are you leaving the planet. One of them is the bad ending, where you don't get all your ship parts that you need, and you just die. And what happens is Olimar runs out of his life support, dies, or is implied to die, or at least pass out, and the Pikmin carry him, and they carry him to their little ship, and they put him up into the ship, and he becomes a Pikmin creature. Like, the Pikmin sort of are little sprout-like creatures, and the way that you get more Pikmin is you gather nutrients and you bring them back to your ship. It turns into Pikmin. So it's got like a little processing thing inside that produces more Pikmin.
Okay.
And so when Olimar dies, they put him in that.
Gotcha.
And what comes up is a little sprout that's got Olimar's head, but a big Pikmin stem sticking out of his head. And he's sort of implied to now be a Pikmin. And Pikmin 4 kind of runs with that idea because you receive a distress signal from Olimar. You are from a different planet. I forget the name of it. But you are from a different planet than his. And you travel to the planet that Pikmin takes place on, I guess Earth, which actually in lore is called PNF 404, which is like a page not found joke. Like the idea that like this is a mysterious planet, so they have no data on it, so they pretty much name it after not having data.
I like it.
Me too. Me too. But what happens is you travel to this planet that Olimar's on, and you see him running around now as a Pikmin. And your goal, once you find him, is to cure him. Very interesting lore for a game that is just little guys running around. I think the Piklopedia, if anyone ever has the time, is super...
Piklopedia.
That's what it's called. It's like...
That's awesome.
It's the little like logbook of all of the Pikmin lore. It's just like this entire biology textbook about fictional creatures, basically. It's very well written. It's very funny. It's very cool to see that like the developers went so in depth at creating this little world. Because, I don't know, a lot of the stuff that I just talked about feels like things that would happen in natural biology. And they actually have cool things like that in the game, where there's like a species that looks like it's the baby of another species. They're called bulborbs. And so there's big bulborbs, and then there's dwarf bulborbs. But the dwarf bulborbs, that's really hard to say.
Say that 10 times fast.
Exactly. They aren't actually younger versions of the big ones. They're an entirely different species that survives by disguising themselves as the babies.
Hmm.
And so basically,
Sneaky.
yeah, they just sneak in sort of like, I think it's a cuckoo that like lays its eggs in another cuckoo's nest.
Yeah.
They sort of do that with a different species to get them to take care of them until they can survive on their own. It's like really funny stuff like that they put into this little fictional biology game.
Yeah. Should I talk about one of mine? Or do you
Yeah,
want to
let's talk about one of yours now. I just went on a whole spiel.
Mine are not as in depth as yours.
Mine was far longer than I intended it to be.
Have you heard of Sad Satan, the Deep Web Nightmare?
No, I haven't, actually. Well, I have, but like I know nothing about it.
I learned about it recently. This one is exactly what it sounds like. Sad Satan is an infamous horror game that supposedly originates from the dark web.
Oh.
Which, scary.
That place is scary. There's a
Yes.
lot of stuff going on.
And apparently its gameplay is filled with things from the dark web. So, unsettling imagery, disturbing audio, things. There are a lot of crimes that happen on the dark web. So.
I think I've seen, I've heard at the very least that, footage of this game, a lot of it can't be uploaded to the internet.
Yeah.
Or if it is, there's, censored versions that are intended to be played.
I was gonna say, if I find any audio, I'll play it here. But
also, you might not be able to.
But I might not be able to, so if not, cut that out. But this...
If not, leave it in. It's funnier.
Yeah. But cue it now. And anyway, it's apparently has a lot of illegal activities involved in it, and unsettling content, claims of hidden messages, inappropriate things that are just very much prevalent on the dark web that are not allowed on the regular web. You will not find this on Steam. You cannot get this at Epic Games.
Could you imagine logging on the Epic Games Store and this is the free game of the week?
Sad Satan. Ah, yes, my favorite. Why is there a child being murdered in here?
Exactly.
Oh, no.
That's a real dead body.
Yeah. But the origins and creators of this, nobody knows who they are, apparently. And it's just an enigma, and some say it's cursed. That's all I really know about it. But...
I think that it doesn't have to be cursed to be fucked up.
True.
If I had to guess, this was some sort of, without knowing anything really about it, what I interpret it as is just sort of a deep web project to make a really fucked up game that can't exist outside of the deep web.
Yeah.
And it probably involved the dev wanting to flex his coding muscles on a project he didn't super intend to get popular.
And then it did.
And then it did, because it was full of fucked up things, and he's probably fucked up in the sense that he's desensitized to this stuff because he's on the dark web.
And the people on the dark web are desensitized, so they're like, yes, let me play.
Yeah, I mean, people off the dark web are pretty desensitized to stuff like that too anyway.
Sure.
And, I don't sort of have I don't have moral objections to art much of the time, but it's kind of obvious when stuff's just kind of baiting for an interaction. And because of that, I say, do what you want. Go play it, don't play it. Acknowledge that you're probably going to think, oh, I think I can handle that. And then you go play it, and it's really going to mess you up.
Yep.
Because you're seeing just straight up live leak level gore.
That's how I feel about if I ever get on the dark web. I'm so confident that I think it's cool and fun. Yes, Bird, exactly. And then if I ever do go on it, I'm going to be traumatized and be like, man, I really shouldn't have done that.
Do you want to hear something crazy?
Yes.
A YouTube channel uploaded gameplay of Sad Satan.
Okay.
In an interview with Kotaku, the channel's owner identified as Jamie.
I've played this before.
You have played this before. Apparently.
I've played these games before.
Yeah. Honestly, this is something I want to talk about both with this game and with Polybius. It's something I want to talk about a little bit, just as a little aside, is that we've lost, most games. In terms of games that you can legally access now, the video game... I think it's the Video Game History Foundation or Preservation Foundation. Frank Cifaldi, I know, is the guy that runs it.
Okay.
He said that in his research, only 13% of games are accessible in a legal format today.
Oh my god.
And a lot of people think, oh, I'm sure through emulation that number goes up pretty drastically. It doesn't really. Honestly,
there are like, what, 20%? Like,
yeah, like there's a lot of games, like Commodore especially, and like Atari games were like, especially on Commodore and like old PCs, you could just like program a game on your computer itself and distribute it like through floppy disks and things like that. There are so many games you can't play anymore. And it's like some of them are just like, you know, My Backyard Simulator or whatever, where a guy makes his backyard and lets you run around his backyard, and that's the whole game. But like things like that.
I know there are a couple of games from my childhood where we had little, like, I guess they were either CDs or like floppy disks.
Yeah.
And I would play them, and I can't remember what they're called, and no matter how much I research them, I cannot find it. And it's like, I guess I'll just never know, because I can't find it anywhere, and I like don't know enough about it.
And even when you do have like the aha moment of like knowing it, then it's like, okay, how do I legally get it? And you can't.
There's one that I've been searching for since I was like 20.
Yeah.
Still can't find it. No idea. Because I can only remember one aspect of the game, and like, I guess I'll never know.
Yeah.
But it was so fun. It's gone. It's gone forever.
What was the aspect of the game?
You had a band. You had a band, and you were really tiny, little like square figures, and you had to work your way up playing. Like, you first start in a garage, and then you get to go to the town hall, and then you're in a rock concert venue, and then your goal is to become like a superstar.
Interesting. Maybe someone will find it.
Somebody please find it!
I'm sure it's not a horror game.
Definitely not, no.
Yeah, and then at the end, Freddy Fazbear jumps in at you.
Don't even get me started on FNAF.
It's awesome. Yeah, so the next thing on my list actually kind of ties back into Pikmin a little bit.
Okay.
But I put it in to lead us into a discussion about Return of the Obra Dinn, which, spoilers for that, if you haven't played it, it is a sort of puzzle game set on a naval ship that washes back into port with the entire crew missing, and you're given a sort of stopwatch that lets you relive the last moments of each of the crew members' deaths. And you have to figure out what happened to all of them and deduce who is in like what role on the ship, what their first and last name is, how they died, things like that. And this is the Umibozu. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. I'm not a native Japanese speaker, but the Umibozu is a Japanese yokai, a sort of a, you know, similar to like a cryptid, of course, that is said to crash the ships of sailors at sea. The idea is that the water gets really calm and then sort of starts having havoc wreak upon it. There's sort of these like bald-headed, shadowy figures which disrupt the course of ships.
Okay.
And some stories have them asking for a ladle or a sort of like receptacle for water, and then once the sailors give it to them, they use it to fill the boat with water by ladling in some water.
Awesome.
The reason I wanted to talk about these is both for Return of the Obra Dinn and also for Pikmin, because in Pikmin,
that's scary.
that photo is really scary. Goodness.
I hate that. We'll post on Instagram.
Well, yeah, we will post on Instagram.
These are ominous.
It's a photo from @TheTyger, TYGRE on Tumblr.
That's so scary.
Anyhow, yes, so the Umibozu, the reason I wanted to talk about it is actually because of the final boss of Pikmin 3, who ties into another Pikmin creature. There are these two creatures in Pikmin that are called wraiths. There's one called the Water Wraith, and there's one called the Plasm Wraith. And before Pikmin 4, the running theory was that these creatures are sort of what's causing every ship that passes by the Pikmin planet to crash.
Gotcha.
For one reason or another. And the reason I brought up the Umibozu is because I was playing Return of the Obra Dinn, and that was one of the first things I thought of when I was playing the game backwards and I didn't know what had happened. I actually really felt strongly that these had to be the Umibozu had to sort of be an inspiration for these creatures. The idea of them like terrorizing and boarding a ship and attempting to hurt everyone on board. They were sort of these like bald creatures with little beady white eyes, and that's how a lot of the Umibozu are depicted, very similarly. Also pretty similar in size as well. They're usually like pretty big, all things considered. Yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. I still haven't finished the game, but I'm in the middle of playing it. I'm having a really good time, and it's a nice seaside mystery with some spooky sea cryptids. I highly recommend it if anyone in listener land hasn't played it yet.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's sort of the Umibozu segment of the podcast.
Amazing.
Amazing. I want to tie back to a moment we sort of talked about earlier, because we had you play Silent Hill.
We did, the first one, yeah.
And when I thought about spooky games, I thought about Silent Hill, but I also thought about how there's a lot of misconceptions about how Silent Hill was, like, created.
Okay.
A lot of people think that Silent Hill was based on the town of Centralia in Pennsylvania, which is a town, I don't know if I feel like you might have you talked about it before? Mm-hmm. Definitely an interesting segment. Okay. I think if you want a future episode pitch.
Yeah.
But Centralia is a town in Pennsylvania that has a coal mine fire that has been burning under the town since the 60s.
Oh!
I don't know if that's still the case, but as of my research this morning, it was. And that town was the inspiration for the Silent Hill movie.
Gotcha.
But people have kind of retroactively applied that to the game, when that's not true.
Okay.
Silent Hill, the game, was very much inspired by like 50s and 70s Americana towns, as well as like the works of David Lynch and that sort of sci-fi era. But really the inspiration was just that the art team let them run wild with freedom because people thought the game was like going to be too scary. Konami thought the vision of the game was getting weirder and weirder, and they weren't super into it. And they were given just a lot of creative freedom to run wild. So it wasn't really based on any one town.
Okay.
That's really all I had to say about that aspect of it, because a lot of people seem to think that it's inspired by like Centralia.
Just get it right.
Just get it right.
Yeah.
Get it right, you sillies. I do have something tangentially related to Silent Hill as well, which is one of the scariest games I've ever seen, which is a game that you cannot buy anymore, and you can't access it anymore, called PT, which a lot of people have heard of. Jamie just like shuddered, like, okay, scary.
Well, you can't play it anymore? What do you mean?
The company just like took it down. The reason they took it down is actually kind of a bummer.
Oh.
So PT stands for Playable Teaser.
Okay.
And what this was developer Hideo Kojima, who made, this is actually a great segue too, because he made the last game I want to talk about.
Awesome.
He was working on a proof of concept with Guillermo del Toro and Junji Ito on a Silent Hill game.
What
originally.
A crazy collaboration that would be.
Right? I was angry enough that it got canceled when I thought it was just GDT. When I found out Junji Ito was working on it, I lost my mind. I was like, there's no way they have to let us have this. But now the world is such that it's not going to be, unfortunately. But he basically made PT as a pitch to Konami. The game was uploaded to PlayStation Network under like an anonymous developer called, I think, 7780s Studio, which was really a secret group of people within Konami who were working on the project. And when we saw the game was the same time Konami saw it.
Okay.
And if you don't know anything about copyright, that's a really big no-no. You're not allowed to do that. And this was around the same time that Kojima was developing Metal Gear Solid 5, which at this point, there was a lot of fighting within Konami, especially over Kojima, because his budgets were getting bigger, his games ideas were getting crazier, and they were trying and failing to rein it in, as capitalist corporations are wont to do. But the main reason the game sort of ended up being canceled, and the main reason that Kojima ended up leaving Konami after finishing Metal Gear Solid 5 was because they pivoted to very profitable mobile games and like gambling machines, like pachinko machines and slot machines in Japan. Gotcha games, yeah. But it's because like there was a Yu-Gi-Oh mobile game that made enough money that it funded the entire development of MGS5.
Holy.
Yeah, and so Konami was like, that's insane, and it's crazy that we are wasting our money making games like MGS5 when we could be making the Infinite Money Glitch. Anyway, so after I think 6 months, either 6 weeks or 6 months, PT was taken off PlayStation Network. And there were updates to different PlayStation systems that kind of like stopped your ability from being able to boot the game. Same with like updates to the PT software itself, because Konami didn't want anyone to be able to access it anymore because it was made without their involvement in their own company.
Yeah.
Kojima ended up leaving Konami and is currently lead of the Death Stranding franchise, which takes a lot of elements from PT, including having Norman Reedus play the main character. And he's also working on a game called OD right now, which is very much like the horror game that he kind of wanted to make with PT, more or less. But I want to talk a little bit about PT because there's a very interesting thing the game does, and that's with the main enemy in the game, who is Lisa, the deceased wife of what's implied to be the main character, but we don't actually really know.
Okay.
I also want to talk about how the reason we can't play PT anymore isn't through a lack of trying. Like, you can find PlayStations for sale on eBay for like $1,000 at this point that have the game installed. No one's been able to successfully recreate the game and how it's coded, because there's things in the game, like, there is an official ending to PT. No one really knows how to get it, for sure. Like, there's videos, and I'm going to shout out a video from the YouTuber Leadhead, which has her, like, as foolproof as possible method to get the ending. Okay. Which involves, like, taking steps in a rhythmic pattern in the game and like speaking into the microphone of the PS4 and things like that. But it only works like 70% of the time. And sometimes like it just doesn't work. And no one knows why. And so no one can recreate the game. And no one can trigger the final cutscene reliably 100% of the time. Yeah. And because of that, like, we're not probably going to be able to play a version of it unless we can, like, reverse it. Like, reverse engineering the game is, like, impossible compared to a lot of other games because of how complicated a lot of the stuff you have to do in it is. Like, it's easy to, like, reverse engineer, like, a Mario game because, like, oh, it's you press the A button, Mario jumps. So how about we recreate code in a way that makes it so the jumping physics work the same? You can't really do that with PT because it's such an enigma. And one of the things that developers found, and people who like hacked the game found, was the main enemy of the game, Lisa, appears in specific cutscenes in the game and like specific moments in the game's infinitely looping set of hallways, which the game's like a looping hallway, except it ends with like a downward staircase. And so the idea is that you're descending into this house. One thing that people found is that the Lisa is set to follow you or to be near you in certain moments in the game. One thing that people found in the game specifically is that there are sound effects from Lisa that sort of play in the background. And they're meant to like sound like she's like right in your ear, essentially. Scary. And if you actually take out the camera in these moments and you look, she is. No. It's sort of meant to be like, you might catch her out of the corner of your eye or whatever. but there are like moments where they track her position in the game.
No.
In like her character model to like be behind you.
No, I don't.
I don't like it either.
That would scare me so
It's
bad.
so scary, but like you can't see it. But like that was meant not to scare you. That was meant to scare the one guy who was like, I wonder how they did the sound effects in this game, and then finds out that that's real, and he's like, oh my god. My last spooky thing is talking about video games predicting the future.
Right.
And that is where I get into more Hideo Kojima with Metal Gear Solid.
Right.
Specifically, in my experience, Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay.
Because that game's increasingly relevant, I think, to today's climate. Spoilers for the whole plot. Spoilers for the whole plot of Metal Gear Solid 2. Very in-depth super spoilers. It's one of my favorite games ever made. If you haven't played it, go play Metal Gear Solid 1 and then play Metal Gear Solid 2, obviously.
Okay.
But I love them very much. They're all fantastic games. And I'm going to talk about the plot of MGS2 now. So essentially, we all know about the things that are like, The Simpsons predicted the future. How did this piece of media predict this? How did this piece of media predict that? Whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of Metal Gear Solid is about, like, sort of Hideo Kojima kind of predicting the directions society's going in, and a lot of directions the military is going in.
Oh.
Specifically.
Woof.
And the plot of Metal Gear Solid 2 revolves around this character, Raiden, being instructed to sort out an incident at this oil rig facility in the middle of the ocean. Without getting too much into that aspect of it, what we end up finding out over the course of the game, and this is set up right in the beginning.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah. The Big Shell incident, it's called in the game.
Okay.
Essentially, the way it starts is that the character from the first game, Snake, infiltrates this oil tanker in the middle of the ocean because he is attempting to find these giant mechs that are on the boat.
Okay.
And he is trying to find evidence that the U.S. military is about to mass produce mechs that can launch nuclear weapons from any point in the planet.
Oh, this is just real life.
Yeah. Oh, just you wait, it gets crazy.
Oh, God.
His ultimate goal is that he wants to help prevent nuclear war, and he wants to, like, disarm nukes. So him and his buddy Otacon sort of run this sort of, like, I hesitate to use the word counter-terrorist. I don't know exactly what the term is. This sort of, not mercenary group, let's just say revolutionary group. Really, it's just him and Otacon going around the world and attempting to find and share evidence of conspiracy to, like, initiate nuclear warfare in America. Yeah. And Otacon and Snake find an oil tanker in the ocean. Or, sorry, it's not in the ocean. Otacon and Snake find an oil tanker off the coast of America that is carrying a new type of Metal Gear weapon, which are these giant mechs that can launch nukes from anywhere in the world, that is intending to be mass-produced by the U.S. government. The ship is attacked by Russian mercenaries, it sinks, and Snake flees before the tanker sinks and explodes and does all this bad stuff because it's a big boat filled with oil. So, as the game begins proper and, like, the prologue with Snake and everything is done, 2 years pass between Snake getting photo evidence of the mass-produced Metal Gears and the present, where we play as Raiden, who is a very controversial character because he actually wasn't shown in any of the promo material for the game.
Oh.
The only promo they showed was Snake, but that was actually really intentional. Because it was to trick you. Snake is the guy with the beard and the bandana.
Is he in Fortnite?
Yes, he's in Fortnite.
I know, I have him!
Raiden's in Fortnite too. I have Raiden. I love Raiden. He's my baby girl.
What does he look?
He's got silver hair.
I might have both of them.
Maybe you probably do.
I don't know why I do, but I think I do.
Snake was in the battle pass, but Raiden was in the shop. Anyway, yeah, Raiden from Fortnite.
I do. Got you. I didn't know that's what they were from.
As you start playing as Raiden, some things are already not right. Raiden is being sent to this facility that's intended to clean up the oil spill called Big Shell, where it's rumored that the president is being held hostage in exchange for money. The sum of, I believe, $50 billion, something like huge like that. And immediately things aren't right because your Colonel Campbell. So when we pick up 2 years later, we are now playing as Raiden, who is a character essentially acting as this game's quote-unquote Snake, and by that, like, acting as the role of guy dispersed by the organization Foxhound in order to do stuff on behalf of the United States government. Sort of like James Bond, how the title of 007 is sort of implied to be like a different guy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You just passed along the...
Yeah, because there's like a theory that like the code name isn't 007, but it's 007 James Bond.
Yes.
That's the whole code name. That's why he's a different actor every time. That's why the villains age, but he stays the same.
Yeah.
Whatever. But Raiden is given the mantle of guy acting on behalf of this organization, Foxhound. But immediately something isn't right because what the Colonel tells you about the incident on the oil rig isn't fully true because we just played it and we know what happens. And he implies that like terrorists boarded the ship and sunk it, which isn't what happened because we played as the so-called terrorist who was Snake, and he's not a terrorist. He went on to take photos of the Metal Gear and then just wanted to leave.
Yeah.
The terrorists, quote unquote, were Russians who were already aboard the ship.
Okay.
Anyhow, so as we begin to play through the game, we see some weird stuff happening. And things like people know information that shouldn't realistically know them. A lot of the events and the characters you meet are like parallels to those from Metal Gear 1. Solid 1, I should say. There are games called Metal Gear, which are different. Same series, but like before Solid.
Yeah.
And eventually we start being told things like are straight up not true. Things that are straight up like visibly not true.
Yeah.
Like there's a man who is claiming to be Solid Snake who isn't Solid Snake, and we know because we know who he is and we've met him. Okay. Eventually the real Solid Snake, calling himself Pliskin, shows up and begins helping Raiden throughout the course of the game. And what ends up happening through the game is there's actually 2 twist reveals that Raiden is led to believe, and one that is actually true. What's said to happen is that everything that's happened over the course of the game, from when you're first getting to the Big Shell onwards, is implied to be something called the Solid Snake simulation. And what that is, it is basically all of the events that you've been through have been fabricated by this group called the Patriots, who are acting as the sort of Illuminati of this world. And their goal is to create a mercenary as legendary as Solid Snake. And they've had their hand in Raiden's life from the beginning. Like, he was a child soldier.
Oh my god.
And from that point on, they've been sort of, quote-unquote, grooming him for this role of being a mercenary who can take orders and things like that. And the idea was that, what if we had somebody and we gave them everything that Snake has done? Would they turn out the same way Snake did? And so far, it's been yes. Like, you're super capable, you're super good at your job, you listen to orders, and you, importantly, you believe whoever's on the end of the radio. Because that leads into the next big reveal, that the Colonel you've been talking to the whole time is an AI. He's not a real guy. He never was a real guy. Not only that, but everyone you've actually been talking to over the radio, including your girlfriend, none of them were real, ever. it was all just like a robot guy. And it's big for the players because the voice, like the guy Colonel Campbell, is a real guy in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
But in the sequel, it's just a robot. It's not a real guy.
We never met.
We never met him. We don't know. And then this all leads into the final big twist of the game, which I will get into in a moment. But the whole theme running through this game is like you're being fed false information that you will believe because you think you have no reason to distrust it.
Yeah.
And it ties really into the sort of big government conspiracy of this group called the Patriots, whose ultimate goal is sort of like control over the whole world. The president that you meet, who is supposedly kidnapped, was both in on it the whole time and also is in a position that is chosen by this group called the Patriots. Like, democracy doesn't exist in this world.
Yeah.
All of these positions are sort of funded, etc., and that like the big enemies, like US versus Russia versus China, they're all kind of in on it together, essentially, in this big government conspiracy. But here's the crazy thing too. That thing about the Solid Snake selection thing I told you, that's also not true in the game. Because what really happens is this AI that you're talking to has gone rogue. And in this world, which this is where it starts actually, this is where I'm getting into the real spooky shit that starts mirroring the real world. This AI, the Solid Snake simulation thing, is called the S3 plan, but the S3 plan actually stands for Selection for Societal Sanity. So the goal of the villain, who, it's kind of unrelated to the point, but is a clone of the hero Big Boss, who is, Snake is a clone, like Solid Snake is a clone.
Okay.
This other clone is a clone of the same guy. So they're genetically pretty much identical.
Like Superman.
Like Superman and Ultraman. Like type shit.
Gotcha.
And so because of that, his ultimate goal is to detonate an EMP over New York City and essentially take everyone off the grid. The reason this is his goal is because he believes that the media and the internet are preserving false information and junk data that we used to be able to get rid of because we were like an oral species. We would just talk and pass things down person to person. And if shit wasn't true, we didn't repeat it.
Yeah.
We didn't like have lies carried with us the whole time. But right now, because the internet, there's false information.
The earth is flat.
Yeah, there's false information that's been spreading on the internet for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Because it has no way to go away. Because as soon as something's on the internet, it's there forever.
True.
And in the age of AI, they just proved that this person, Raiden, had an AI leading him along the whole time, and he will believe anything if you put him through the right situations. And so instead of being the selection, or the Solid Snake simulation, it's called the Selection for Societal Sanity. And the real test wasn't creating a warrior like Solid Snake, it was how much fake information will this guy believe? And that's down to like his own name, because the AI gives you the name Jack, but we don't even know if that's his real name necessarily, because the person that told you that is your girlfriend, who as far as we just learned is like fake. And so basically the whole conceit of this game is that eventually part of the conceit of this game has been like a world that is letting an AI make decisions on behalf of humanity.
Oh no.
Yeah. And an AI that is feeding people fake information, seeing if they'll believe it.
Oh my god.
An AI like built to,
That's our scary future.
Yeah. There's actually also a great video essay by Leadhead, who also talked about PT, about how the key difference between Metal Gear Solid 2's AI and real-world AI is that instead of deciding that we as humans are preserving junk data, AI is the one making junk data And that sort of gets into a conversation of like, is AI inhibiting our evolution potentially? Which is super deep and super spooky.
I do want to do a whole episode on AI too.
Yeah,
Cause
but
yikes.
the way that the game starts to like reveal the AI stuff is the kernel starts refusing to tell you certain information, and he has no way to come up with an excuse. So he just doesn't. Eventually the AI gets corrupted with a virus, and it actually starts instructing the player to do certain things. Like, he'll just say, Raiden, you should turn off the game console and go outside. Like, stop playing this game, buddy. He starts saying things like, eventually the AI just starts spitting out junk data. He just starts reciting lines from TV shows. There's one really good moment where he actually... Raiden is revealed to have been a soldier trained entirely in VR as well.
What?
That's another big moment. But that's like pretty early in the game.
Okay.
Because there was a PS1 game called Metal Gear Solid VR Missions, which was a bunch of like mini levels of Metal Gear.
Oh.
And Raiden played that.
Oh my god.
The idea is that the way he got his
crazy.
training is he played that.
Okay.
He's like, I have over 300 missions in VR.
What in the Spy Kids?
I know, but it's crazy because that means Raiden is a child soldier. Raiden is a guy whose training comes from a computer. He's a guy who's placed into like a sort of panopticon scenario where he's monitored constantly and like fed or not fed information depending on the circumstances, and he like believes all of it for a time. And the whole ending of the game is you, like, basically refusing to collaborate with anyone anymore and deciding to just go your own way. And that's what, like, Solid Snake from the first game shows up to say that. He's like, now you can choose your own name. And they have a really good moment where they have you, the player, enter, like, your name and birthday. Mm-hmm. And when you do, the dog tags that Raiden was wearing are revealed to be, like, your name and your birthday. So the idea is that, like, Raiden wasn't himself the whole time, because you were playing as him, so you were controlling him.
I'm Raiden.
Yeah, so we are all Raiden. Terrifying implications of AI.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to add is I want Konami to re-release Metal Gear Solid 4, because that game goes hardcore into the AI and technology thing. Here's the biggest part, actually, of Metal Gear Solid 2 that I will spoil. At the end of the game, Raiden and Snake get a microchip that has the names and ages and everything of the Patriots, which is the secret Illuminati group.
Okay.
And the stinger, and I don't know how the rest of the franchise goes, which is why I want to play 4 so badly, is that the Patriots are revealed to have been dead for like 100 years. And so the implication is, like, has this just been a robot the whole time?
Oh my god.
Like, how deep does it go? Sort of layers. Super chilling. Super good stinger. Very, like, end scene sort of, like, stinger at the very end of the game.
Fade to black, roll credits.
That's when they roll the credits.
Oh my god.
And fade to black is that moment. It's on Steam, it's on PlayStation, it's on whatever. Play the first game first, but also I just spoiled the whole plot, so...
But go play it anyway.
Go play it anyway. There's moments I didn't talk about that are super, super impactful. Anyway, I guess that's a good place to end it. I've rambled for a really long time about spooky things in video games.
I mean, good episode, lots of information.
Lots of info, lots of stuff.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for teaching me things.
Thank you for having me.
You make me want to play all of these games.
You should. They're all really good.
Yeah.
I'd start with Metal Gear Solid, because the first game's, it's also on the PlayStation 1, but like it's top down. It's really easy to control, things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. Well, did you want to shout yourself out again?
Yes, sure thing. I've been Nikki. You can find me on Instagram at NIKKIM, the letter M as in Mary, and then VEE. I do acting, I do Twitch, I'm hopefully doing YouTube soon, I do event productions, all of which you can find through there. I definitely want to do a video on Metal Gear. I have a video planned on how Metal Gear uses melodrama, which is a term meaning music and drama, not just meaning like, oh, so melodramatic. So
Yeah,
like,
okay.
whatever. But yeah, the games use music really well, and I want to do a video on that.
Fun.
Awesome. Hopefully that'll be in the new year, because I have so much left to do for my final semester at school.
Good luck in that.
Yeah, like 5,000 to 6,000 words I think I have to write over the next 3 weeks. So hopefully that'll go well. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
It's been fun. We had a cat a lot of the time in this room.
Yeah. If you hear meows,
It's
sorry.
Bird.
Sorry.
Been a yapper. Been a yapper today.
And our outro is always the same, so if you're listening, hi Mom. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Creeps and Coffee with just an N, or follow us on X/Twitter, Creeps and Coffee. You can email us, creepsandcoffee@gmail.com. And if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, it's patreon.com/creepsandcoffee. Please, pretty please. We would love it very much. You can join the SAS Squad. So, yeah, check us out.
I just followed.
Oh my god, I just got the notification. We just got a new follower. Thank you.
Yeah, I was looking when I went to like tag.
Oh my god, amazing.
How about I just mentioned Creeps and Coffee in... Well, actually, that won't matter. I was going to mention you in my Instagram story, but it'll be like 2-3 weeks before this episode's out.
We can still tag you in this episode when we
tag me.
about it too.
Yeah, that's a better idea.
Well, yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Go play these video games. Also, video games sponsor us. Alright. Well, goodbye. Cut.
Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and Jane.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter @Creeps and Coffee.